Why are you beeping at me? I don't know what you want from me. Okay, it's working again. We're good, we're good. Bloody technology, alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back for another episode of Mark's Easy Eats. Guys, the support so far has been overwhelming. Thank you again. Tonight, I've got a cracker. I've got something very special. Today we're gonna make spaghetti, or maybe not spaghetti, we're gonna make a bolognese. We're gonna use a different type of pasta. This one's called a pappardelle. This is way better to use for a bolognese. You're gonna get the sauce stuck on there. All right, let's get into it. Let's talk ingredients. What we're doing is, now a lot of people think bolognese is just beef. What we're gonna do is take it up to the next level. And I'm talking the next level, we're talking here in the big leagues. This beautiful mince here is actually half pork, half beef, 500 grams of it. The next part here is veal mince. This is pancetta, some sort of Italian bacon. Yes, there is milk here. We're gonna get to it. I'm gonna explain it, I promise. We're gonna be good. Pappardelle, wine. I'm choosing red wine. You can use a white wine here. Tomato paste, we got some stock. Worcestershire sauce, yes. Just trust me. Balsamic vinegar. We've got some crushed tomatoes. And we're also gonna get some celery, carrots. We've also got some onions. Tiny little amount of sugar. Tiny. We've got a couple of sprigs of thyme, rosemary, bay leaf or two, cherry tomatoes. And I think that's it, guys. We're gonna make a nice storm today. Yes, there's oregano here and there is nutmeg. This is the secret weapon. All right, let's get into it. The first thing you wanna do is clean these. You can peel them if you want. Not really important, but if you wanna clean them, a bit more clean. Finely dice these onions. Dice up these pancettas up, cut up really nice and small little squares, chuck them into here. We're gonna do that right now. Now, once you've finally cut it as much as possible, or as much as you're bothered for, because after that food grading experience, I'm done. Chuck it straight in. Alrighty, what we want to do now is cook the sofrito. Sofrito is what we're going to do when we put the carrots, the celery, and the onions together. I put in the pancetta. Now you want to put it in there on medium heat, not too high. You don't want to burn that butter. Now with the butter, like in a bit of oil. Yeah, go do it. Be decadent. A little bit of olive oil, a few tablespoons. Let's get this sofrito right in there. Wooden spoon. Done and done. Make sure you don't waste it, guys. Get as much as you can in there. Guys, it smells so good. Keep mixing that, keep stirring that. Make sure it doesn't get burnt at the bottom there. Now the idea is we're gonna cook that rawness out of all of these ingredients. And we also want a crusting a little bit on the pancetta. So once it starts to get to this point, I promise you we're not gonna muck around. Straight to the big guns. Penfolds, God bless you. Bin 407, Capsap, in my opinion, the best things to go in here. Obviously, whatever red wine you want to drink, put it in. Don't use the cheapo, shitty one. Something with a bit of body is probably better. So even a Shiraz might even be working here. It's a bit strong, but let's go in. Now, what I'm going to do, add half a cup. We're just going to start with half a cup. Anytime you add red wine, you want to cook it off a little bit first. You do. Just to get rid of that alcohol acidic, bittery taste. Now, once that wine is nice and cooked out of it, everything's drying up again, it's all evaporated. Now we're gonna lead in with what's next. And what's next is we're gonna get our meats in there. Yeah, a bit messy. Break it up a little bit if you want first. As discussed, it's about half a kilogram of pork and beef. There's also half a kilogram of veal. Whatever combination you do, it's not really a big deal. Now, once it's in there, you want to break it up a little bit, let it brown. Now, once it's all nicely incorporated and broken up, we're gonna add some more magic, wine, get it in. At this point, I'm gonna add about a cup. Now, if you're a bit generous like me, you wanna add 2 or a bit more or less, just do it. Promise I'm not an alcoholic. It's a nice one. And once that's in there, we're starting the simmering process, but first, let's cook that wine off before we do anything else. Now, as you can see, that wine is now evaporating off, and cook all that water out. All that liquid you can see there it's gotta go. So this one's probably started to get a bit out of hand in terms of temperature. So I'm just gonna turn it down a little bit because we don't want it to go crazy. We don't want an angry boil. We don't want a rolling boil. We want a nice, gentle simmer. Take it easy. Now with bolognese, the longer you cook it, the more time you spend on the fire and it's simmering, the more juicy it becomes, the more it absorbs that flavor, the more tender the meat becomes. And that's exactly what we're gonna do here. Let's season this, guys. Now, we don't wanna add too much salt because there's a few salty things coming in and out. But that being said, you wanna add something just to get it seasoned, and the salt does help break it up. Pepper is always a great idea. You can always add salt, you can never take it out. So do a little bit, but not too much. How do I do this? Okay, let's go. The pepper, same thing. So as that's slowly cooking off, we want to start thinking about the next things we're going to do. So the idea of tomato paste is you want to cook it off a little bit because it has a bit of a metallic taste if you don't. So get a little bit in there, cook it with the meat. One of these things has 2 tablespoons. I'm probably going to use 1.5. I want 3 tablespoons. We're going to have a nice, generous serving of flavor with it. You don't want to add this in before the wine is done because if you add this in before you cook the wine off, like I said, you just maintain too much bitterness in the flavor. I love the taste of tomato paste. Done. Yeah, so half a bag. Once it's in there, give it a good mix around. We want to cook this off as much as possible for it, and more liquid goes in there for the simmer. Once we've cooked that off a little bit, we're going to do a couple of important things here. All right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to add some crushed tomatoes. You can add whole tomatoes as long as it comes from a can. Because a can, something about it, I think they add extra flavors or they pick out the best ones. Cans are always better. Just do it. Let's go, chuck that whole can in there. That's gonna give us a beautiful color now. Now we're gonna start looking at the low heat simmering process. Now you guys know me, I'm a little bit over the top, so I told you it's gonna be the best bolognese ever. This is a little secret of mine, what I'm gonna do. There's these cherry tomatoes, but the long ones. Oh, we have a pickles problem again. I love these, it's so delicious. Cut them up, plug them straight in. Very good, very good. By the time this is done, they're all gonna start melting down, become soft, and they're gonna add this extra sweetness to this whole operation. We wanna put our ingredients here. I'm gonna put some extra flavor in here. That wine in there is just something else. Okay. First up, my secret is nutmeg. I'm not sure if it's a common thing, but being Middle Eastern, we do use a lot of nutmeg in our cooking, especially for minced meat and stuff. And the other thing I'm gonna add, again, oregano. So people who are watching this and you've seen the proper ways, don't worry, just try mine before you judge it. Put a couple teaspoons, I should say, of oregano. Put about 1.5 teaspoons of the nutmeg. I'm gonna get some thyme. Now, if you wanna tie it together just so you can find it later easy, do it. I'm gonna add a bit of rosemary in there. And I'm even gonna put in these bay leaves. They're very good for flavor. Get them in. Now, I'm also gonna chuck in some stock. It doesn't really matter which stock you use. I mean, chicken stock, vegetable stock, beef stock, it's all the same. I've got chicken stock here, so I'm just gonna use some of that. Now, for the sake of not knowing how to open these dumb bottles. Oh shit. We gotta let this simmer. It's gonna take all the time it needs to. Now, this actual bottle contains 2 cups, so let's just chuck 3/4 of it. I'm gonna add a couple more ingredients at this point. We're gonna start with a teaspoon of sugar. Just a teaspoon, no more. Just white sugar. Just gonna add a little bit of sweetness to balance out the acidity of the wine and the rest of the ingredients, especially the ones I'm gonna add now. Like I said to you, what I'm making here is the best bolognese you ever have in your life. Unorthodox, but the best. Next ingredient, yes, the balsamic vinegar. I wanna add about 2 tablespoons worth. And I will measure this time, because I wanna add too much. So, there's 1. Here's your second. Don't judge till you try. Now the other thing I'm gonna add is your Worcestershire sauce. It's a very strong sauce. I found that 1 tablespoon is the perfect amount. Get it in there. Maybe put another one. You know what? 2 tablespoons. Get it in. But what I wanna do now is have what they call a very, very soft simmer. When I say a soft simmer, I'm talking, oh, bubble here, little bubble there, couple around the outside. That's all right. But that's not what's happening right now. I think there's building up to too many bubbles. Whilst this is simmering, find yourself something to do for an hour, I'd say. Alrighty, so we're coming back to check on it. It's been about 15 to 20 minutes. Now you wanna occasionally stir this. Come back every now and then just to make sure it goes evenly. All right, boys and girls, now we're back to check on our ragu or bolognese, whatever you want to call it. Now, it's currently been about an hour of simmering. Remember, it's a very gentle simmer. And it is just looking amazing. It is looking amazing. I brought my camera so we can do a close-up right here. And just have a look. As you can see, there's still a long way to go. And the longer this simmers, the more the flavor intensifies. All that liquid is evaporating, it's leaving behind strong flavors. All right, so we're checking back in. It's been about an hour and 40 minutes, maybe even a bit more. Now, like I said, the bolognese or the ragu, whatever you want to call it, is an operation of patience. The more patient you are, the better it's going to turn out. We want everything to thicken up and just leave the concentrated flavor in there. It's going to be so good. All right, so it's been exactly just over 2 hours right now. I'm going to add my last ingredient. Now, you're probably wondering what this purple or pink bottle is doing here. Yes, it is milk. And yes, it is lactose-free milk. Yes, I've seen all the butter I put in here. Yes, I know I use a lot of butter. Fuck it, I want the food to taste good, to be honest. I mean, it's worth the toilet session. Now, the final ingredient I'm gonna add into this is a cup of milk. Now, you might look at me like I'm crazy. I promise you, this works. This is gonna add this luxurious, creamy flavoring to it. Put it right in there. Give it a nice mix. Give it a very nice mix. And again, once it's mixed, we're gonna let it simmer. Told you it's about patience. Now, if you're impatient, you just want to eat and you don't have time to wait, you got to do something, you got to go to bed. All right, you got my permission, turn the heat up a little bit. It's going to boil a bit quicker. It's going to boil quicker. It's still going to taste delicious if you've waited this long. But I promise you, if you can just let it on a low simmer, bubble here, bubble there, let it evaporate on its own accord. If it takes 4 hours, I promise it'll be the best you ever had. Alrighty, for those of you that have been patient and waited, congratulations. You have reached the stage of perfection. Right now it's been just shy of 4 hours, maybe even 4 hours of us. And guys, we've had enough, we're starving. What we've got now, as you can see, is a beautiful, beautiful meat sauce. And that's good. We're talking this one on this light simmer is literally about 5-6 minutes away. Now what we want to do when it comes to the end is two things. Number one, pull out all the little rosemary, the rosemary stem, pull out the bay leaves, pull out whatever thyme is left. Most of it's disintegrated. Whatever's left, pull it out, get it aside. At the same time, get your water boiling. Make the water that you're gonna cook the pasta in taste like the ocean. So in my case here, the amount of water I've got, I'm gonna add about, maybe 2 big tablespoons. Like I said, you want it to taste like the ocean. You want to season that pasta so it comes out tasting delicious. I personally prefer the pappardelle because the pappardelle is the thickest one. We want to catch as much of this sauce as possible on the pasta. Now, follow the instructions in the packet. Whatever it says to cook to al dente, minus a minute and a half. Because once you've cooked it on there, we're going to continue cooking it with this sauce. Alrighty, so this is done. My God, it looks so good. Now, like I said, I've pulled this out a minute earlier than I wanted to. Than it says on the packet, I should say, and purely because I still want it to be al dente. I'm going to cook a little bit more here. Now, if you do get a bit of water in there, it's fine. So once all that pasta's in there, we actually want to get a cup of that starchy pasta water. A cup is about a ladle and a bit, and the reason why we want to do this is because that starchy water is going to promote this sauce to stick on the pasta even more. And one of the reasons why I never added olive oil when I was cooking this pasta, like some people do, because I want this pasta to become sticky. All right, now once we've given that a good mix, then it's incorporated and it's, oh my goodness, it's so good. Let's turn this heat off. Oh, we've worked so damn hard to get this sauce done and it makes me so happy. It gives me so much joy to share this with you. It's finally done, it's here. And I really hope if you do make this at home that you're patient. It's worth the hour's worth of work. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look at this, look at this, look at this. We are done. So look at how the sauce is stuck onto these noodles so beautifully. Look, all right, how are we gonna plate it up? We're gonna give it a few twists. We're gonna grab it as much as we can. Get it into that plate and then twist. And give it a little twist. Just gonna twist it on there gently. Guys, you can never have too much Parmesan. Yes, they're telling me to stop in the background, but the truth is, do you really want to? Thank you for joining me for another episode of Mark's Easy Eats. Guys, this dish, it is a piece of art. If I can make it, anyone can make it. This is incredible. Please give it a crack. Let me know how you go. All the best. See you on the next episode of Mark's Easy Eats. Subscribe, like, share it to your friends, to your mum, your dad, your auntie, your cousins. Just share it. I need a lot of views.